Words eluding me. This is why we need the Merriam-Webster thesaurus. Oh, I've not hit the word count I need. Oh my gosh, I just realized that I hit the 20,000 word mark. Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lovisa, and today I want to do another writing experiment. So a little while ago, I tested my writing speed. I saw how fast I could write 500 words in 3 different contexts, and honestly, I kind of surprised myself. However, I have a very strong hunch that that level of productivity will dip quite a bit and very quickly, if I were to continue to write throughout the day. Perhaps I could hit 500 words in, I think, like 30 minutes I did at one point. Wild. The next 30 minutes, probably couldn't repeat that. But today, we're gonna find out for sure, because I am going to, this is a little bit of a convoluted experiment, so just please stick with me here. I am going to take a baseline. I'm gonna write, I was gonna say for an hour, I'm gonna write for 45 minutes, so I have 15 minutes for filming, grabbing a little snack, running to the bathroom, things like that. I'm gonna write for 45 minutes, get a baseline of how many words I can write fresh for the day in those 45 minutes, and then every hour, on the hour after that, I'm going to write for another 45 minutes and see for how many hours I can match that baseline word count. So if I write for 45 minutes and I get 500 words, the experiment doesn't end until I dip below 500 words for a future 45-minute sprint. Hopefully that makes sense. This is something that I think I will fail out of this with some haste. I have a feeling that it's going to take. Oh, am I placing a bet on this? Oh, that's so bad. It's going to be like, if this happens in the first hour, that's going to be not the second hour. The first hour is a baseline. I can't fail at the first hour, but if I fail in the second hour, that would be rather upsetting. I would really like to make it at least 3 hours. I feel like that's a respectable amount of time. 5 would be wild. That's probably not going to happen for me. We shall see. Today, honestly, I don't know if I chose a great project to do for this experiment. I'm working on Diana, which is my YA fantasy. It is a romantic fantasy. It is queer and comedic, and I am writing draft 6. So that does throw a little bit of a wrench in things, because unlike first draft words, which is what I was doing when I was doing my speed writing experiment, I will not just be putting kind of any words on the paper and not worrying about their quality. In draft 6 of Diana, I am being very particular about the words. This is the final draft before I send out to beta readers. Everything should be as polished and pristine as it possibly can be. So, I guess on one hand that's nice because I will probably have lower word counts. On the other hand, I do generally find that when I'm writing this project, my word counts vary a lot. Sometimes I'll sit down, and because I have so many previous drafts, sometimes I'll get to a scene where I'm like, oh, I really like I don't usually like the diction that is in those scenes that I've written in previous drafts, but sometimes I will say, like, I like the content of it, and so I just need to rewrite the same, like, beat by beat scene, and we're good. Other times I'm like, this scene is just, there's something wrong with his bones, like, it's gotta go, and gotta start from scratch. And of course those instances, I can write considerably less in an hour than I would write when I do have a lot to pull from draft 5. So again, an interesting choice on my behalf, on my part, to be writing that project right now, but it happens to be my main writing priority at the moment, and kind of I feel like it ups the stakes. It makes this more exciting, to me at least, for this to be something that I really feel like I cannot predict. I have no idea what my baseline word count is going to be for this first hour, and it keeps me on the edge of my seat, you know what I mean? Keeps me on my toes, and hopefully you feel the same. So, without much further ado, I'm gonna get started. Honestly, it's not actually. I said every hour on the hour. It might be every hour on the half hour, because it is now 11:15. So I think we're going to be starting writing at 11:30, and then it'll be like 11:30, 12:30, 1:30. add one, I'm sure, without me doing it for you. Anyway, so I'm gonna get started in about 15 minutes, and hopefully, I don't know what I hope for. I kind of want a high word count for this baseline just because I feel like that'll make this more exciting. At the same time, I would like to be successful, so maybe we'll go for maybe a medium word count is what I'm really hoping for. I don't want it to be too easy, but I also don't want it to be completely beyond my reach. Okay, that is a wrap on hour 1, the baseline hour. I hit 361 words, which honestly I think aligns with my goal of it being like a challenging but not too challenging goal to hit every 45 minutes. I think this next 45 minutes, I think I'm feeling quite confident that I will be able to hit it because of what is coming up in the scene. It's kind of a little action bit, and the dialogue is always easier for me than an exposition or a piece of the scene that is particularly dependent on interiority or something like that. So I'm feeling good. I will say for this, I am unlike my speed writing experiment. I am not speed writing. I am listening to music. I'm pausing my music when I need it. I'm skipping a song when I need it. I'm taking a break to think when I need it. I'm looking up a better word in the Merriam-Webster thesaurus when I need it. I am choosing words with great care, and I'm not stopping writing at any point. Like I'm not thinking about something else or like responding to an email or like getting up out of my desk or anything like that. But I am not really truly sprinting. I am not speed writing. I'm not going as fast as I possibly can. I'm going as carefully and accurately as I possibly can. So this is different in that way as well. And it is honestly more accurate to how I usually write. It's a better representation of just like if I were to sit down at my desk on any given day and start writing, this is more how I do it. I don't tend to be a speed writer. I tend to be much more focused on being like a little bit more perfectionistic than I probably should be. But in this case, it's a draft 6, so it feels very appropriate that I would be allowing myself a little bit more perfectionism than I usually do. That being said, I'm actually very happy with I had to like finagle a couple lines. I spent a couple honestly, I think I spent 5 minutes on a single line that I was really trying to get it to work. I didn't want to sacrifice the parallelism, but I'd already used one of the words that was going to really fit in the last chapter. And I have this thing of I don't want to repeat a word too often. Probably once in a chapter is fine. Even though it wasn't last chapter, that was probably fine. But I wanted to come up with a more inventive way of saying a similar thing that I'd already expressed. Because it was about Diana. It was describing, kind of her excitement about the upcoming events in Act 2. And I did take the time to really get the words right, but I'm very happy with how they came out. So, so that is how I'm approaching this. I just wanted to say that because I didn't want this to be confused with I'm not comparing the speed with which I am writing very slowly and deliberately and carefully in Diana with the speed written words that I was writing in my first draft of Theo when I did that experiment a couple of months ago. And Theo, by the way, is another project of mine. I call my projects by the name of the main character. Just makes it easier for me. I do have titles for them, but I usually, just in my own life, I hardly ever use the actual titles. I call them Diana and Theo and Winifred and all of my main characters' names. Theo is in the same universe as Diana, which is why I am now focusing on finishing Diana first, because I realized that I needed to make some pretty major changes to the world, and because they are set not in the same country, but in the same world, in the same universe. I wanted to make sure that I got those changes in Diana implemented before I went further on Theo, but that is why I'm working on Diana, and that is why she is my main priority right now. Anyway, I don't know how long I've been talking, and I need to start writing super soon. So with that, I'm going to leave you very briefly, go do another 45 minutes. I was going to say hour. Again, I'm moving in hours, but only writing for 45 minutes of every hour. It just seemed more practical that way. And I didn't know how I could film otherwise. I thought about doing 50 minutes with 10-minute breaks, but I just decided 45-15 was more manageable. And I needed that personally today. So I am going to jump in to hour 2, see if I can hit 361, which again, I'm feeling like I'll be able to do it. I think this upcoming bit is going to be really fun to write. So I look forward to updating you very shortly. All right, I finished that second sprint with 447 words. So past the minimum, and as I said, this one wasn't too big of a crunch because I knew how this scene was largely going to play out in this middle section. This chapter, I had already begun it before, starting writing for the day. So what I wrote at the beginning was mostly the end of the first scene of this chapter and the opening of the second scene. And I always think that transitions, like the beginning and the end of a scene, just take longer, usually for me personally, to write. So right now we're very much in the meat of the scene. So it makes sense that this sprint, I was able to write faster. Although I will say, I really needed the last 15 minutes. I was at, what time would that have been? I was at 1 o'clock, I think. Yeah, because I just finished at 1:15. I was at 1 o'clock and I was like, oh, I've not hit the word count I need. And I wrote an extra, I think I wrote did I just write 100 words in 15 minutes? That seems, yeah, that's right. I think I just mathed. I don't know. But yeah, it's still going well. I still feel like I have a little bit of energy. I think I will be able to, hopefully, don't hold this against me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm going to be able to hit my goal of at least getting 3 hours in, and then maybe we try for 5. That seems ambitious, but we'll see what happens. It is the end of the third sprint, and I got 364 words. I will say that I stopped a few minutes early, actually. Once I knew I'd hit what I needed to at minimum, I decided to step away for just a couple seconds because I needed to check my inbox. I had a couple emails from work, and I was like, okay, we'll do this right now and continue in the next hour. So I will say I'm feeling a little bit almost worried that the what's it called? Oh my goodness, the benchmark, the first hour that I did, baseline, words eluding me. This is why we need the Merriam-Webster thesaurus. But I'm almost worried that the baseline was too achievable at this point because it was just that was just me writing that hour. And granted, I think as soon as I reach the end of this scene, which I am coming upon, which is also I think gonna be the end of this chapter because I'm over 1,500 words, I know, for this chapter. So at that point, I will have just what would be next in my writing process would be doing a little reread, especially of the dialogue-y sections, and making sure that they aren't too much just back and forth and nothing else, because that is a pitfall that I fall victim to every once in a while. So yes, I'll have to do a pass through this at the end of the chapter, and honestly, I might hit that in the next 45 minutes, and that is usually a little bit slower going, but I'm almost wondering if I should have done this as sprinting words, but I really wanted to know more about endurance than speed, and this is how I would be writing on a normal day, and I oftentimes would probably cut it around now. I've written over 1,000 words now, and that's probably where I'd usually be like, okay, I did enough, let's go. But in this case, I am really curious to see if how long I can keep going. I'm not feeling burnt out at this point. I think that I'm just listening. I'm jamming to some Taylor Swift and I'm having a great time. So might be able to keep this up for a while longer than I was expecting. I don't know. I'm almost, as I said, almost worried that the baseline was too low, but it was genuinely the first writing sprint. And watch me fail this next one and just completely eat my words. We'll see. But yeah, so far having a good time. So far so good. So I will check in with you in another hour. Okay, I am being almost shockingly consistent. I hit 375 this time, and I will say it was a little bit harder. My energy has taken a little bit of a, okay, nosedive is dramatic, a little bit of a dip. So I did have to kind of get a little bit more into the music this time and try to motivate myself that way. But yeah, this was a new chapter. I reread the chapter that I was working on Things are mostly fine. I did more of a skim. One of my CPs and I swap chapter by chapter, so I will do like very final reread, thorough edits, like line level edits on this chapter right before I send it out to her. But for now, this is like all I would do before moving on to the next chapter. So I did that, and I have started, I think it's chapter 12. Don't quote me. I think it's chapter 12 though. I have opened that, and honestly, not as hard as some chapter openings are, although I have not reread it at all yet, so maybe it is too jarring. We'll figure it out. Sometimes that's the biggest issue I have, is not incorporating enough, I don't know what you, like, reflection time, and like, this just happened, now we're like slowly gonna roll into this next thing, and this is how they're connected, and we're gonna do a little like internal debrief about it. I'm not good at including that, so I've been really, really working on my transitions in this rewrite. So it could be that the beginning of this chapter needs a little bit more work, but I think it's okay. I've also been, throughout this whole experiment, actually, if I'm like alone, obviously not at like a cafe or a library or something like that, but I really like to read my work aloud, not like in front of, like never to people, just to be clear, but I like to read it out loud to myself just to get a sense of like the rhythm and the flow, and I've been doing that a lot today, and it does take more time, of course, which is why I'm not speed writing this, but I like it. It's a fun tool to whip out every once in a while. I feel like I haven't been doing it as much lately, and I really should, because I really like having that. It's kind of like a secondary confirmation. Like, I read it with my eyes and it flows well, and then I read it out loud and it flows well. It's like a double check, and I know I'm good to move on. So that's where we're at for now. I really need some food, so I'm gonna go try to snag like a quick snack in my like 7 minutes left of this break. I don't even think I have that because I had to send a work email. I might be supposed to be starting like right now. Regardless, I'm gonna grab a quick snack and just try to make up for it. And yeah, I'm gonna try for one more. And I mean, I'm trying for each one, of course, but like, I feel like after this one, I might be a little tired. This is, again, I know that different people there are some writers who can do way more writing than this, way faster, just everything. I am not the pinnacle of writing speed or word count. I know some folks do. Oh my gosh. I was watching Lindy Zhang do 10K weekends. Mind blown, let me say. I think it's amazing, and I could never. It's very inspiring when people can get those really high word counts. Maybe someday I will grow, but at the moment, here we are. I should check actually what my total word count is. Maybe that'll motivate me a little bit. Doing some math, total word count thus far, 1,547 words. That's better than I've done in so many days. So honestly, maybe like a couple of months. Super quick mid-session check-in because I have obtained some cereal and deleted words. So off to a good start, of this session 5, but we'll see how it goes. I just needed to tell you that. I just needed someone to bear witness. Okay, I have 19 minutes left of this 45 minutes, and I think this is going to be the last one. I am really pushing hard, and I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. But even if I do, I think I'm going to call it. But I wanted to take you with me on these last 15 minutes or 19 minutes, whatever I just said, 19 minutes to see. I need about another 150 words. Wish me luck. Oh my gosh, I just realized that I hit the 20,000 word mark in Diana. I am at 20,007 words. I need exactly 61. So I've written exactly 300 words. I need exactly 61 words left in 9 minutes. I'm gonna keep pushing on, but oh my god, 20,000 words. I mean, it feels like I've been working on this kind of forever, because I took such a break to finish the fast draft of Theo. But damn, okay. I'm happy. I'm happy about 20,000 words, especially because this is not a super long fantasy novel. I am a chronic underwriter. So the draft 5 is 70,000 words, and I can't imagine this draft is going to be any longer. It's actually looking like it's shorter at present, which could be a problem later, but that is not an issue for today. Come to a wrap on this experiment because I guess I didn't actually fail. I need to tap out now. That was enough for me. That was a little sprint to the finish, as you saw at the end there, hitting 20K, which is so exciting for me. And unfortunately, the word count for today is kind of an unfortunate number. It's 1926, and I feel like I could have done 2K if I had realized how close I was and put in a little bit extra. Easy for me to say now that I've had a little bit of a break. But overall, super happy with that. I haven't written even 1,900 words since February. It's been a while. It's now April 15th. So it's been many a moon since, not many, it's been 2 months since I have written this much. And especially given the fact that it was back in February, that would have been fast drafting words in Theo. And now these are good words. I wrote some lines that I think are pretty great. And in this last bit of the chapter that I was writing, in this 5th writing session, I don't want to call it a sprint because I was not sprinting, but this 5th writing session, I actually had a couple of sentences that I pulled directly from draft 5 because I was like, wait, I had to judge them up a little bit, but I think there was one that I completely left as it was, and it was describing they're arriving in this new part of the world. They've traveled from their country to another country, and they're kind of arriving in the capital city and having a moment of amazement, or it's also a little bit imposing, I guess, but they're having that experience. And some of what I wrote as the description of the what they could see in the market square and the palace and the whatever, I think holds up. So I pulled that over from draft 5 and barely made any changes to that couple of sentences. So that was really nice too, to be okay, because I've been feeling pretty, not bad. I don't feel bad that draft 5 needs a lot of work, or needed in some cases, and needs for the things I haven't yet perfected, but not perfected. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. Everything is far from perfect. But yeah, I'm not feeling bad that draft 5 isn't great. But when I'm going through and editing, I'm glad. Of course, you need to get the words on the page. You cannot edit a blank page. There's a reason that a lot of people do piece of shit drafts. There's reasons that, some people even say your first draft should be terrible. And granted, we're talking about my 5th right now. Anyway, it's all necessary steps to get to a point where it is no longer terrible. Hopefully, I don't think it's terrible anymore. I like it. I don't know if it's going to have mainstream appeal, and hopefully that's the biggest thing I am looking forward to learning from my beta readers, is if they think, or what changes they think are necessary in order for this project to have mainstream appeal, to not just be something that I like. I want other people to like it too. Hopefully. We'll see. I'm acting like people are actually, my beta readers are actually going to read this. I want them to like it. I was other people are probably never realistically going to read this, but my beta readers will. And I really appreciate them for that. So anyway, all of that aside, the writing experiment went really well, and I'm really happy that I did it. I honestly came up with this idea less than 24 hours ago. I think it was last night, and it is only not quite 5 p.m. So less than 24 hours ago, I think, that I came up with this plan. Or was it? Wait, was it the day before yesterday? The days are blending together. Very recently, I came up with this idea and I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I did it. And it was really fun. I really recommend, actually, if you're looking for kind of a way to... I would never have written for 5 hours or 3.75 hours throughout 5 hours were I not doing a sort of challenge like this. And I think that I need to do more writing experiments going forward, because I've been doing some just like basic writing vlogs. I don't mean basic in a derogatory sense, just like, you know, cut and dry. Like, it's a writing vlog. That's what it is. And I should expand more into the writing experiment space, because especially now I'm feeling like I could write for a fairly long period of time if the word count requirements aren't too high. I've seen people do like 12 or 24-hour write-a-thons. I don't know at what point one of those might be in my future, but I've attempted a 24-hour write-a-thon with one of my CPs before, one of my critique partners, and we didn't quite make it. I think we made it to hour 21, I want to say, and then we tapped out. I still got a lot of words in. Still, I think the most words I've ever gotten in, because I remember that was my goal, is I wanted to write more words in 24 hours than I'd ever written in 24 hours before, and I believe that I accomplished that. I just accomplished it at hour 21 and then was like, we're done. But I kind of want to attempt it again. I've been wanting to attempt it again ever since then and like actually complete the 24 hours. And maybe I should try to make a video of that at some point. That's not going to be like a super soon in the future thing unless I change my mind. But anyway, more writing experiments in general should be an easy thing to implement. So I don't know if there are any writing experiments, whether it's like writing like somebody else for a day, like a famous author, or do you like it to be speed, or do you prefer this kind of like endurance event? I'm acting like I'm an athlete. What is most appealing to you? I'm really curious. And if you were going to try a writing experiment, what would you try? Would you try to speed write? Would you try to write for as long as you could? Would you try to write like somebody else? Would you try to write like yourself when you first started writing? That could be something fun. How did I write when I first started writing? Poorly. I need to stop. It's also like it's so hot today. It's like in the 80s and there's no central AC here. So I am kind of roasting. Somehow that makes me yap more and less coherently. I think that's documented. I think that's understandable. But anyway, really happy that I did this. Really appreciate you joining me. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you very soon with another video.